Talk about stepping up. Bang! Bang!
It's time to level up your game. Introducing the all-new ESPN app. All of ESPN, all in one place. Your home for the most live sports and the best championship moments.
The electricity is palpable.
Step up your game with no annual contract required. It's the ultimate fan experience. Level up for more on the ESPN app or at stream.espn.com. Sign up now.
At Sierra, discover great deals on top brand workout gear, like high-quality walking shoes, which might lead to another discovery.
40,000 steps, baby. Who's on top now, Karen?
You've taken the office step challenge a step too far. Don't worry, though. Sierra also has yoga gear. It might be a good place to find your zen. Discover top brands at unexpectedly low prices. Sierra, let's get moving.
Hello and welcome. I'm Ryan Clark, Oregon State Beavers beat writer for the Oregonian and Oregon Live. You are listening to Beavers Beat, a short-form podcast keeping you in the loop on everything Oregon State sports. It has been a busy week for the Beavers. With football season fast approaching, OSU took a devastating blow to its linebacking core with the medical retirement of redshirt senior Micaiah Tongue. Tongue suffered a fourth season-ending knee injury in 5 years during fall camp, which is just awful luck for a guy who had worked for nearly 2 years to come back from a major knee injury in 2023. At that time, the former wide receiver turned linebacker tore his ACL, MCL, patella tendon, and meniscus on a special teams play. He was finally healthy this past spring and figured to be a key contributor at inside linebacker in 2025 for the Beavers. OSU will now be led by senior transfer Rajon Davis, who comes in from USC already looking like one of the best players on this defense. And alongside Davis at the linebacker spots will be names like Dexter Foster, Aiden Sullivan, and Gyrese Goodman. With plenty more to come next week on Oregon State football versus Cal, here's a few pieces of news to cover from around the OSU athletic department. At the top of the list is an overhaul of the Beavers' NIL operation. OSU announced on Wednesday that Kyle Bjornstad, a former OSU basketball player and administrator who founded the Damn Nation NIL Collective in 2022, will be the athletic department's new general manager. In this new role, Bjornstad will oversee the NIL operations for all of OSU's sports teams with, of course, a primary focus on football, baseball, and men's and women's basketball. OSU also announced a multi-year deal with the marketing firm Blueprint Sports, which will take over operations of Damn Nation moving forward. Blueprint will focus more on corporate deals and individual memberships, whereas Bjornstad and the internal team at OSU will work side by side with them and focus mainly on determining the NIL budget and soliciting larger donations. Here's what Bjornstad had to say in an exclusive interview about this role.
I'll be having the role as the GM, much like, I was doing with Damn Nation. I covered all of our sports. I think that's really, really important in this landscape to have fewer, cooks in the kitchen, because I think it's really important that whoever's in a role like that knows every conversation that's been had with the administration, with the coaches, and probably most importantly with the student athletes or the representatives. So I'll take the lead on all of those conversations. And from a GM perspective, like what's really important is working closely with Scott and the department CFO to help create the budgets for each sport, right? And then to be able to make sure that the coaches understand what these and the key here is revenue share. It's not necessarily NIL. Like revenue share is not NIL. So that's the internal portion of it. So having a great understanding and a deep understanding of the budget for each sport, having a good say in helping create what those budgets are, because you have to understand the landscape and all of that. And then obviously having good relationships with our head coaches so they understand what they have to work with and all of those things. And then, the big part of it is working specifically with the student athletes. And it could be athlete, or in this day and age now, agents are becoming more and more prominent, or parents or whatever. So really taking the lead on all of those conversations and making sure everybody's on the same page with expectations and what's going to be happening. If that makes sense.
In other news, the OSU gymnastics program announced on Tuesday that U.S. Olympic star and Beavers legend Jade Carey is returning to Corvallis as a student assistant coach. Carey had hinted about the possibility near the end of her college career, which finished with a 4th place finish in her final NCAA gymnastics meet in April. Carey is now 25 years old, has 2 Olympic gold medals, 3 in the World Championships, and holds the OSU program records for event titles with 168, perfect 10s with 16, and the highest all-around score at 39.925, which is tied for 4th in NCAA history. Her presence around the OSU program should have a major impact on the gymnasts currently on the OSU roster and certainly on its recruiting. Moving to the baseball diamond, Oregon State has new competition in the reformed Pac-12 as Dallas Baptist is joining the conference beginning in the 2027 season. It's a major add for the Pac-12, with the Patriots standing among just 5 programs in the country to make the NCAA regionals in each of the past 10 seasons. With an enrollment of just over 4,000 students, DBU is Division II in all of its sports except for baseball, which joined Division I in 2004. The head coach, Dan Hefner, is entering his 19th season at the helm with a career .668 win percentage, which is 9th among active Division I coaches. This is a power program, and one that has produced 81 MLB draft picks since Hefner took over, including 31 in the first 10 rounds. You look back and think about names like Ben Zobrist and Freddie Sanchez that come to mind when you think of former Dallas Baptist players who have made it to the MLB. Pac-12 is now at 7 members in baseball, including the Beavers, Dallas Baptist, San Diego State, Fresno State, Gonzaga, Texas State, and Washington State. It remains to be seen at this point if there will be more added to the conference in the near future, but this edition of Dallas Baptist is a major one for the Pac-12. For more in-depth stories and analysis ahead of Oregon State's 2025 football season, visit OregonLive.com/Beavers. We've got a feature story in the works on tight end Riley Williams that I'm excited about and look forward to posting late next week. You can follow me on Twitter/X and on Blue Sky at Ryan T. Clark, and make sure that you submit your questions for our weekly Oregon State mailbag either on social media or via email at rclark@oregonian.com. That's Clark with an E, the only way to spell it. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you in week 1.